right, ladies and gentlemen and programmers, we're going to do part 5 of the piano. We're going to learn how to use a while loop, which is a very powerful way to save time. Okay, so here's the deal. Adding the keys one by one is a huge pain. Do you believe me? Of course you do. I would never lie to you. All right, so we have this right now. So I have these 3 keys, and if I go into the piano world and look at the code, I have this right here, make white keys, and so I added one, right? And it starts to become a little bit of a pain. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to figure out a way where we can just basically write this one line of code, and well, we'll get to it. We'll let you try to figure it out. We don't want to have to do each one by one. All right, what I want you to do is grab your handouts. And right here on the handout, I want you to brainstorm a way to automatically add 12 keys without having to write 12 lines of code. Okay, so come up with an idea. It doesn't necessarily have to be Java or even pseudocode for that matter. I just want you to come up with an idea, like anything. Like what would work? What could work? All right, write that down. Okay, so here's the next handout is using loops, the while loop concept. A loop is a statement in the programming languages that can execute a section of code. Write this down in your handout. Write this down in your handout. What are you writing down? This stuff and this stuff. Fill in the blanks. Okay, so here's the deal. What is the name of the local variable below? How is it different than an instance variable? All right, before we get started with looking at the loop, let's answer that question. So we have int I equals 0. That is a local variable. So if you look at this, we have our box named I, and the rope is attached to this method, okay? All right, so this little section of code. So when we get to the end of the section of code, I disappears. So this belongs to this, and when you get to the bottom of this, it disappears. Now, on the other hand, key and sound are instance variables. They belong to the instance of the class, so one of the key objects in the world, and they last as long as that thing does, right? So, and they work everywhere. So the int I only works in here in this code. Key and sound work everywhere. This guy disappears as soon as we get here. These guys last as long as that key is still in the world. These guys are in existence and still work, okay? Okay, so a while loop has the following form. Okay, you start off by declaring a local variable named I. So int I equals 0. So we have this I, and it is equal to 0. Okay, and it says while I, 0, is 0 less than 100? Yes, so we're going to go through, we're going to do this, whatever the statement is. This is bad Java, but this represents whatever we want it to do. And then we say I equals 0 plus 1. So now I equals 1. Is 1 less than 100? Yes, we're going to do this loop. And then we're going to run that statement. Then it goes 2, 3, 4, and it's going to go all the way. So it's going to do this 100 times until I equals 100, right? Well, let's say 99. Is 99 less than 100? Yes. It's going to run it again. Now it's equal to 100. Is 100 less than 100? No. It's going to kick us out of the loop. It's going to kick us to right here, out of the loop. So it's going to run all the code, the statement here, all the code that we have inside the loop is going to run this many times, okay? So by the way, this is the answer to this problem. Brainstorm a way to automatically add 12 keys without having to write 12 lines of code. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to come down here and we're going to put this line of code inside of a loop, and it's going to make the key as many keys as we want. Okay, so that's the answer to this. If maybe you got it, maybe you didn't. I don't care if you get this one right, but so just leave whatever you had. But the correct answer is use some sort of loop. Okay. All right, using a while loop. Okay. Okay. So again, you have your handouts using the loops. The while loop. A loop has a local variable. So I stands for iteration. That stands for iteration. It means what time. So when I is 0, you're in the 0 iteration of the loop. When it's 1, you're in this next iteration of loop. Basically, iteration is how many times you're going through it. So iteration means the number of times it has gone through the loop. It usually starts at 0 and goes up 1 each time. It doesn't always go up by 1, but that's typical. So by the way, you could say I equals I plus 1, or you could say I plus plus, either way. Okay, good. Let's keep going. All right, so now in the key class, so now we're switching. So let's see here. Let's go to our project here. Okay, so let's go to the key class and bring this over here. Okay, so in the key class, I want you guys to, I want you to make a method. So we're going to go in here and we have this thing called play. Okay, so public void play. Okay, and so right after play, I want you to hit enter and I want you to make a public void play 10 times. Okay, and the idea is we want to make a method that will, instead of just playing one time, we're going to play 10 times. Okay, and so you're going to use a while loop in there. Okay. Okay, do not erase, by the way, don't erase or change the play method. Okay, and by the way, don't erase the play 10 times method. So anytime we do stuff, we may like abandon it and not use it permanently, but it's part of the scoring guide. So don't erase anything, just comment it out. If you don't know how to comment something out, let me know. Okay, call on the play. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, let's see here, I wanna show you this. Okay, so over here, so you're going to write the play 10 times. And so in our check key press method, we're going to say, oh, I don't want to anymore. I don't want to just play it once. And we're not going to delete it. We're just going to comment it out. And we're going to say play 10 times. Okay, something like that. Okay, so your job, I'm not going to show you the rest though. By the way, you need to add in Greenfoot.delay 5. Okay, so you're going to start inside your play 10 times, you're going to start with this int I equals 0. Okay, so start with this code, right? This is a good start. And so we're going to change this number to however many times we want it to happen. And then, so delete statement and like, what do you want it to do? Well, you want it to play. So we're going to delete statement and put in something like play, parentheses, parentheses, semicolon, right? So we're going to try to take this generic form of a loop and make it do what we want it to do. Okay? See if you can make it happen. All right, and by the way, right here, so we'd probably have play here, enter, and then we'd have Greenfoot.delay 5, or whatever. Play with different things, because otherwise it's going to go ding, 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 so fast you're not going to hear it play ding, 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 ding. So you want to delay it to delay so you can actually hear it play each individual time. All right, modify this form to get it to do what you want. So we're still talking about the method called play 10 times. So int I equals 0 while I is less than 100. How many times do you want it to run? So we're going to change that. What do you actually want it to do? We're going to get rid of this. And then we're going to definitely add this code, Greenfoot.delay 5. You can change that to 20, whatever you want. And then this is good, I equals I plus 1. You can change it to I plus plus, same thing. All right, see if you can get it to work. Good, okay, good. Okay, and okay, so hopefully you got that to work. And now what I want you to do is I want you to try something different. I want you to add this code, Greenfoot.delay 20 times I. Okay, what will happen if you add I? So everybody, so do this, and let's see what happens. Let's go through it and let's see if we can guess what's going to happen. All right, so the first iteration through I is equal to what? Hint, 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 0. Okay, I equals 0. Is 0 less than 10? Yes, it's going to jump us into this loop. It's going to play the sound, and then Greenfoot.delay 20 times I, which is 0. So it's going to 20 times I is 0, 20 times 0 is 0, so it's going to delay 0. And then I equals I plus 1, so I is now equal to 1. Is 1 less than 10? Yes, it's going to jump us in. And this is going to delay 20 times 1 is 20. It's going to delay 20. Then I is 2 next time through. So 20 times 2 is 40, right? So you can see what's going to happen. The delay is going to increase. So see if you can guess what you think is going to happen. All right, change the method call back to play instead of play 10 times, but don't erase. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to come back here and we want to go like this, comment that out, bring that back. So now it's back to just playing one time instead of 10, but we're not gonna delete our method called, we have this method called play 10 times. We're not gonna delete that, okay? All right, so that hopefully was good practice on how to use a while loop, but now we're gonna really use it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off make white keys. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna go up here. So we're going to go to piano. So we're not in key anymore. We're in piano. And you have this thing, make white keys, here in the constructor of the piano. So we're going to click right here and we're going to get rid of that. And we're going to make one called make white keys with loop. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a method called public void make white keys with loop. Okay. Get started with that. Opening curly brace, closing curly brace, and it'll be happy for now. Okay. So what I want you to do is, I want you to write this code in there. Let me see what, I don't know. I'm going to hit pause on my video here. I don't know what I have in here. I'm going to hit pause for a second and jump back into. All right, here we go. So we have this thing right here called make white keys with loop, right? Okay, so we're saying int I equals 0, I is less than 12. So we're going to run through this 12 times, add object new key, right? I equals I plus 1. So it's going to run this code 12 times, right? So what do you expect? You're going to have how many keys? All right, let's take a look and see what we say. We did that. Okay, good. What do you observe? What two strange things happen? See if you can figure that out. What do you observe and what two strange things happen with this? And let's answer this question. How many times does our body loop execute? Okay, so it's going to go from 0 basically to 11. How many times is that going to work? What are the values of I during each iteration of the loop? What are the values of I during each of the execution? Okay, so int I equals 0. Okay, the first time through, what's I equal to? Obviously should be 0. The next time it's 1, then it's what? And then make sure you go to the last one. What's the last one? All right, see if you can figure that out. Ask me if that doesn't make sense. All right, let's go. Let's see what this does. Let's take a look at our project here. Okay, so I'm going to hit reset, and okay. So where's our 12 keys? Where's our 12 keys? Well, here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, and let's see. Let's run it and see what happens. And they all play when I press the G key, and they all play 3/8 wave. Okay, so we've made some progress in that we can make our keys with the loop, but we've went backwards in that all the keys are in the same spot, and we went backwards in the fact that they all play with the G and 3/8 wave again. So we made some progress, we lost some progress, so we still have some work to do, okay? And we'll eventually fix it, but we're learning along the way. That's the whole idea. We're learning along the way. All right, it looks like only one key was made, but they were on top of each other. How can we change your code so that the keys do not all appear at exactly the same place, but instead get placed exactly next to each other? Okay, so you should kind of have an idea how to do this. So we're trying to use the loop, and we're going to try to put one here, one here, one here, one here, or actually the other way. One here. I have no idea what it looks for me. I'm seeing myself. I see myself over here, and everything's backwards. I don't know what it looks like for you, so I'll stop trying to make it work. All right, write the code to do this. Hint is a symbol. This little asterisk thing is a symbol for multiplication. All right, so see if you can fix this code right here, because we don't want them at 300, right? So what's the code going to be? See if you play around with it. See if you can figure out some code that's going to make it work. So you have all the skills at this point to do it. You can probably figure it out. So good. All right. What do you need to make? So hit pause on the video and try to make that happen before we go on to this next quiz part. All right. Hit pause when you ask for help in class. All right. What do you need to make sure that the keys are not on top of each other? You will need to figure out how to move each key to a different location on the x-axis. Each key is 63 pixels wide. So the first one has to be here, and then the next one should be 63 over, 63 over, 63 over. And you should be able to do that using the index, the I. Change your code so that the keys do not all appear, but instead get placed in the code. Okay, so we already looked at that. Okay, so here's some more help on that. Public void make white keys with loop. You already have that. Int I 0. You already have this. You already declared your local variable named I. So you should have something like this. Add object new key G 3/8 wave. And so we're scooching it over 54. So we don't want the first one like way over at the edge of the world. We want to scooch it over a little bit. So we're going to just say 54. And then we're going to say plus what times what. Okay, so that's a little bit of a hint. That's a little bit of a hint. All right. So hopefully you can figure out what times what is going to scooch it over 63 pixels each time. All right, what is the value of I the first iteration through the loop? That should be obvious. What's the value of I, the third iteration of the loop? If you don't know that, ask me. If each key is 63 pixels wide and I want to space each key exactly to the left of the previous one, what would I replace the two questions marks with? Boom, boom, right? Okay, considering that I goes from 0 to 1 to 2. Okay. Update this code in the Piano World's constructor after making the changes suggested in the above question. So it's not going to be, this is going to crash if you use question mark. So what should that be? It should work, but what is the problem? What happens if I change I to 12 or, if I change this to I is less than 12 or I is less than 5, what's going to happen? Try it in your code and see what happens. All right, here's the solution, by the way. Add object new key I times, let's go ahead and fix this in our code here. So I times, let's do it different. 54 plus, we're going to say, so we're going to say 54. So we're going to scooch it over 54 plus I times 63 because each one is 63. And then we're going to put it at 140. That's a good, oops, I forgot my comma. Something like that. Nope, doesn't like it. Equals new 3. What is not like? Oh, that should be an I. 45. Oh, that's supposed to be a plus. I did a classic mistake if that's not a plus. All right, let's see if that works. Okay, so let's take a look at our project and see what it does. Okay, so that's nice. It spaces them all apart now. So it scoochies. So I actually maybe scoochied it over too much. So we could play with 45 and make it like 42 and see how that works. Let's scooch it over a little bit. Okay, so that's probably good enough. Okay, so now let's run it and see what happens. All right, we solved one problem, but we still have the same problem that they all play when I press the G key and they all play 3A.wave. Okay, what is still not right about the project? Okay, so we're going to fix that problem later. All right, here's the quiz. So we got through it. We learned all about while loops. Now, what does a while loop do? What does the I stand for? What does the I do? How many times will the following loop run? When you're looking at this, remember though, I equals I plus 2. You're going to probably have to go through it to figure that out. Okay, and then we're going to go on to part 6.